true story that happened to me a while ago. I'm 22 now, and this happened to me about 6 years ago. I'm from Eastern Europe, and in my country, it's quite common for people to drink alcohol at the age of 16. So this one night, me and my friend decided to get absolutely hammered at my house. We were neighbors, we drank loads of beer, and just talked about life. We were getting pretty drunk, so I suggested we go on a walk to a nearby park. It was about 100 meters away from our house. We got there, sat down, and continued drinking. About 30 minutes had passed, and I noticed a guy in his mid 40s, wearing a suit, sitting only a few benches back from us. He was possessing a black briefcase, and I thought this was weird because it was 2:30 in the morning. I kind of felt uneasy and started to sober up a bit, but my buddy had already had his lights out. I noticed the guy mumbling something, not towards us, but just talking to himself. That's when I decided it was time for us to leave. I got my friend up, put my arm over his shoulder, and we started to walk slowly towards our house. A few seconds later, this guy stands up and starts walking in our direction. As he approached, he came to us and asked if we needed any help. I politely declined and started walking away, while also dragging my friend who was on the edge of passing out. After a few seconds, this guy comes too close again and asks if we need any help for a second time. I once again politely declined, and I had thanked him for his concern. At this point, I was thinking of the worst possible outcome. I considered beating this guy to a pulp, as I had done martial arts my entire life, was very tipsy, and also feeling a little cocky. I stopped as I waited for him to pass us, and he did. He stopped and looked for a third time, and said if we needed any help, we could ask him. I told him there was nothing we needed, and that we would be on our way. As we were walking to our house, he went into our neighbor's gate. I ignored it and just focused on my friend and getting him safely home. As I walked inside the house, I heard a screaming coming from the gate that the guy had went into. I recognized his tone, but I was way too drunk and dumb to care. I had just gone to sleep, thinking it was a relative, maybe. Plus, my neighbor was a cop, so I didn't worry too much. The next day, I woke up, and the scary guy from earlier comes to mind. I call my neighbor and ask what had happened. I had heard a scream. What he said made my heart sink. He told me that a middle-aged man in the middle of the night, holding a briefcase, came into his yard and was watching him and his wife from a distance. My neighbor went outside, tackled him. That was the scream I heard. He called his precinct, and a few cops had showed up. They took him to the station, checked his briefcase, and they had found dirty needles, ropes, knives, and a bunch of other kinky items. I got the reality check I needed, and I have been more careful ever since.